I want to start today with a little thought experiment. It's a test, really, a test of your own psychology.
Okay, I'm ready.
I want you to imagine you're walking into the break room at your office. It's quiet, nobody's around. You open the communal fridge, and inside, you see a six-pack of Coke.
Okay, I'm visualizing it.
Yeah,
Cold cans of soda.
it belongs to the company, maybe some catering leftovers or something like that.
Sure.
Now, sitting right next to the fridge on the counter, someone has left a small stack of $1 bills. Let's say it's exactly $6.
So, roughly the value of the soda.
Exactly. Now, here is the question for you. Would you take the $6?
Absolutely not. No way.
Why not?
Because that's theft. I mean, it's just straight up stealing money. If I put that in my pocket, I am a thief. I couldn't look my colleagues in the eye.
Okay. But would you take a Coke?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I probably would.
And what would you tell yourself?
I'd think, oh, I'll replace it tomorrow, or it's just sugar water, or maybe even the company owes me for staying late last Tuesday. There are a million little stories I could tell myself.
And there it is. That's the riddle we are solving today. Why does the human brain build this fortress of morality around the paper money, but leave the back door wide open for the soda?
Yeah, why is one theft and the other is just, I don't know, a perk?
It sounds like a simple contradiction, but it's actually a glitch. A systematic, predictable glitch in how we process morality.
And that glitch suggests that the line between honest citizen and criminal isn't drawn in stone, it's drawn in fog.
And that fog gets thicker the further away we get from cold, hard cash. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are unpacking a fascinating stack of research that explores the gap, the sometimes massive canyon between how we perceive our own morality and how we actually behave when the currency changes.
We're going to cover a lot of ground today. We've got a story about a Skype hacker that completely changed how I view digital crime. We're going to look at how major corporations use this kind of polite theft to rob us blind without us ever even thinking about calling the police.
And in a weird twist, we're going to spend the second half of the show in a bar in North Carolina analyzing why you almost certainly order the wrong beer when you're out with your friends.
It sounds like a scattered list. Hackers, banks, breweries. But there's a singular thread tying this all together. It's the concept of predictable irrationality.
Okay, let's define that before we jump in, because usually when I hear irrational, I think crazy or random, not predictable.
Right. And in standard economics, the stuff you learn in Econ 101, we operate under the assumption that humans are rational calculators. We weigh the costs, we weigh the benefits, and we make the choice that maximizes our utility.
So if we cheat, it's because we calculated the risk of getting caught was low.
Exactly. And if we order a beer, it's because we've analyzed the flavor profile and decided it brings us the most joy.
But behavioral economics comes along and says, have you actually met a human being?
Precisely. We are messy. We are emotional. We are swayed by context. But, and this is the key, we are messy in the same ways, over and over again. We are predictably irrational.
And the mission for today is to find the free lunch hidden inside that irrationality.
That's the goal. In standard economics, there's no such thing as a free lunch. If there was a better way to do something, the market would have found it already.
But in behavioral economics, because we make these systematic mistakes,
If we can spot them, we can fix them. And that improvement, that extra happiness or honesty or savings, that is the free lunch.
I love that. So let's get into the heist, or I guess the non-heist. This story comes from one of our primary sources, the behavioral economist Dan Ariely.
This is a great story because it's so personal. It starts with Ariely logging into his Skype account. This is a few years back, when you had to buy credits to make international calls to landlines.
Oh, right, I remember that. It wasn't a subscription. It was like a digital wallet you had to top up.
Exactly. And he logs in, expecting to make a call, and he realizes something is wrong. The balance is off. He digs a little deeper and realizes his account has been breached.
Now, pause there for a second. Usually when you find out you've been hacked, what is the immediate physical reaction?
Oh, total panic. Your heart sings.
Total panic, you're thinking, bank accounts drained, identity stolen, credit cards maxed out on electronics in another country, you feel violated.
Right. So Ariely is in full panic mode. He's checking his PayPal, which was linked to the account to auto-refill these credits. And he finds that, yes, someone has broken in. But what they did was confusing.
Confusing how?
They didn't steal his credit card number. They didn't try to transfer funds to a dummy account. They just used his Skype account to make calls.
Just calls.
Hundreds of them. They were calling random people, just chatting away on the author's dime. And they kept doing it until Ariely finally regained control of the account.
That is so weird. So naturally, he's trying to figure out who this is. Was it like a student with a grudge?
Maybe. Or a techie challenge, some kid trying to prove he could bypass the firewall. That's what you'd think.
But think about the logic there. If you possess the technical skill to hack into a secure Skype account, you almost certainly possess the skill to hack into something with a tangible financial payoff.
Oh, for sure. You could hack an Amazon account. You could get free laptops. You could steal actual liquidity from a bank.
Right. If you're already crossing the moral and legal line of criminality by hacking, why not go for the gold? Why just steal talk time?
This is the core question. And the author suspects, and I think the research really bears this out, that if Ariely had left his physical wallet on a table in front of this same hacker, the kid wouldn't have touched it.
That is a bold claim. You're saying this person who is actively breaking the law and stealing digital credits would hesitate to take a $10 bill.
I am. And it all comes down to the mechanism of fuzzy theft.
Hmm.
The hacker didn't take cash, he took a digital service. And that distinction matters immensely to the human brain. We have to look at the sleep at night factor.
The sleep at night factor. I like that. It's the rationalization mechanism.
It is. How do you behave badly but still feel like a good person? The author breaks down the layers of insulation that protected the hacker's ego here. First, look at what he stole. Calling time.
It's ephemeral. It vanishes as you use it. It's not an object you can hold in your hand.
Exactly. It feels like nothing. It feels like air. Second, he didn't gain anything tangible. He didn't end up with a new TV or a car.
He just had a conversation.
Right. So in his mind, he hasn't enriched himself, so he's not a thief.
That's a powerful mental gymnastic. I didn't get rich, so I didn't steal.
Third, and this is a big one, look at the victim. In the hacker's mind, he probably wasn't stealing from a specific person named Dan. He was stealing from Skype.
From a giant, faceless corporation.
Sticking it to the man. Skype has plenty of minutes. They won't miss these. It's so easy to tell yourself that story.
And fourth,
And this is a big one, the payment was automated. The author had PayPal set to auto-refill. So the hacker might have told himself, Skype is paying for this, or the computer's paying for this. It added another layer of distance between the act of theft and a human being losing money.
it creates a buffer zone, a moral gray area. And inside that buffer zone, you can convince yourself you aren't a bad person. The source material refers to this as the good person threshold. Can we unpack that? Because I feel like I do this in small ways all the time.
We all do. This is a critical concept in behavioral ethics. We have two conflicting drives. On one hand, we want to benefit from cheating. We want the free money, the free beer, the free talk time. We are maximizing our gain. That's the rational economic agent inside us.
The greedy little homunculus on our shoulder.
Exactly. But on the other hand, we have a deep psychological need to view ourselves as honest, honorable people. We value that identity. We don't want to look in the mirror and see a crook.
So how do we reconcile those two? They seem completely mutually exclusive.
We cheat up to the level where we can still rationalize it. We fudge the numbers just enough to benefit, but not enough to trigger the "I'm a bad person" alarm.
So stealing a grandmother's purse, that triggers the alarm. You can't spin that. You're a bad guy, period.
Correct. No ambiguity there.
Yeah.
But stealing a few dollars worth of ones and zeros from a massive VoIP server, I'm just a prankster. I'm just testing the system. Nobody really got hurt. The alarm bells stay silent.
The source material mentions some experiments that back this up. It's not just one hacker. It's all of us.
Oh, yeah. The token experiments, these are classic. So usually in these honesty studies, you give people a test, a math test usually,
Yeah.
a matrix of numbers where you have to find two numbers that add up to 10, and you pay them for every correct answer.
And you give them the opportunity to cheat.
Right. You let them grade their own paper and shred the original. They put the paper in a shredder, come to the front of the room and say, I got 6 right. And the researcher pays them for 6. Nobody knows the truth but the participant.
And invariably, people cheat a little bit.
Yes. When you pay cash, say $1 per correct answer, people cheat a little bit. They'll say they got 6 answers right when they actually got 4. They bump it up just enough to get a few extra bucks, but not so much that it seems suspicious.
Just a little boost. I would have gotten that one if I had more time, sort of logic.
Exactly. But here's the twist. In one variation, instead of paying cash immediately, the researchers paid in tokens.
Tokens, like poker chips.
Plastic poker chips. And the participants were told, take these chips, walk 12 feet across the room to that other person, and exchange them for cash.
Wait, so it's a tiny extra step. The token is literally a stand-in for the cash. It has the same value. You get the chip, you walk 10 seconds, you get the dollar.
Ecologically, it is identical. Economically, it is identical. But psychologically, it changed everything. The cheating rate doubled.
Doubled. Just because it was a piece of plastic.
Doubled. And it wasn't just that more people cheated. The magnitude of the cheating increased. People felt comfortable claiming far more correct answers. Why? Because stealing a token doesn't feel like stealing money. It feels like you're playing a game. The token is an abstraction.
That is terrifying when you think about it, because the source makes this point. These experiments show that even good people, smart, caring, honorable people, will cheat if you give them non-monetary currency.
That's the scary thought the author brings up. In the lab, people are being observed to some degree. They are in a controlled setting. But in the wild, when the currency is even less tangible than a plastic token, when nobody is watching,
the potential for good people to do bad things just explodes.
it's the slipperiest of slopes. If I can rationalize stealing Skype minutes, what about stealing digital music? What about padding an expense report? Because it's just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Or, and this is where we have to pivot, what about manipulating stock options? What about corporate fraud?
Oof. Okay, let's go there. Because the source material takes this Skype hacker idea and scales it up to the corporate level. We aren't just talking about a kid in a basement anymore. We're talking about the boardroom.
The Gordon Gekko types.
Right, greed is good. But the problem isn't just the greed, is it? It's the mechanism. The source brings up this brilliant quote by Upton Sinclair. It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it.
A classic.
And the source adds an addendum to that. It is even more difficult to get a man to understand something when he's dealing with non-monetary currencies.
Let's unpack polite corporate theft. Because these companies aren't coming to your house and mugging you. They aren't holding a knife to your throat.
No, that would be cash theft. That triggers the alarm bells. If a CEO came to your house and took $50 out of your wallet, you'd call the police. They're doing something much more subtle. They're stealing things that are one step removed from cash.
The example that really hit home for me was the airline miles saga. We've all been there, right? You save up the miles, you plan the trip.
Oh, absolutely. It's a ubiquitous and often painful experience.
So the author talks about a friend. This guy saves up 25,000 miles. And in his head, those miles have specific value. He's done the math. That's a $450 ticket. That is the contract he believes he has with the airline.
Right. I slew this much. I suffered through the middle seat. You promised me this value. It's an implicit contract.
So he calls the airline to book a flight. And what are they? Blackout dates? None available. Those seats are reserved for full fare customers.
A usual runaround.
But here's the kicker. The agent says, if you want to spend 50,000 miles, I can get you a seat right now.
It's infuriating just hearing it. Because they're basically devaluing his savings by half right in front of him.
But look at the psychology. If the airline sent a representative to that man's house and said, we are going to take $450 out of your wallet right now, it would be a crime.
It would be robbery. Front page news.
But because they are devaluing miles, which is a made-up currency they control, they feel no moral qualms about it. They aren't stealing money. They are just, changing the rules of the game.
It's the fuzzy factor again. It's polite theft. And notice how the language changes. They don't say, we're seizing half your assets. They say, we're adjusting the redemption tiers. It sounds bureaucratic, not criminal.
It's Orwellian.
It is. And it's not just airlines. The source mentions the credit card two-cycle billing trick. This one actually made my blood boil when I read the detail.
Yeah. Walk us through this, because I think a lot of people might have been hit by this without realizing it.
So this is a particularly nasty piece of financial engineering. Some banks used to, and some might still try to under different names, charge interest, not just on your current balance, but on the balance you already paid off if you didn't pay the entire thing.
Wait, let me get this straight. So if I owe $1,000 and I pay $990,
in a logical world, you should pay interest on the $10 remaining. But with two-cycle billing, they retroactively charge interest on the full $1,000 from the previous cycle, plus the current cycle. They act as if you never made that $990 payment, just for the purpose of interest calculation.
That is insane. The example in the notes is a guy in Ohio. He had a $3,200 debt. High, but manageable. But because of these fees, penalties, and this two-cycle interest calculation, it ballooned to $10,700.
That is wealth extraction, plain and simple. But again, the bank isn't breaking into his house. They are using complex, non-monetary mechanisms, interest rates, fee structures, billing cycles to take value.
And because it's buried in paperwork and math, they can still run ads saying, we're your neighbors, we're family.
Join the family. Yeah, I don't treat my family like that. Hey, Mom, I'm charging you retroactive interest on the casserole you borrowed.
Right. Would a family member steal your wallet? No. But would they charge you a retroactive fee based on a complex calculation of your past behavior? Well, if they're a bank, apparently yes.
It really highlights the symbolism of cash. The source goes into this detailed description of the dollar bill. I never really looked at one that closely, but the author points out it's designed to feel like a contract.
It is intense, isn't it? Take a look at a bill sometime. You have the United States seal. You have George Washington, the man who could not tell a lie.
You have "In God We Trust." You have that creepy, unblinking eye on the pyramid.
It's staring right at you.
It is. And that symbolism matters. It signals gravity. It signals this is real, this is serious. A dollar is a dollar. There is no ambiguity. When you hand over a bill, you feel the loss. Behavioral autonomists call this the pain of paying.
The pain of paying?
Yes. When you use cash, the transaction is visceral. You are handing over a piece of your labor.
Yeah.
But when you swipe a card or tap a phone or use miles, that pain is anesthetized.
Contrast that with taking a pencil from work.
Or a Coke from the communal fridge.
I'll bring one back tomorrow. It's just office supplies.
The rationale is instant because it's not cash. And this brings us to the future conundrum. We're moving away from cash rapidly.
I can't remember the last time I actually paid for something with paper money. I tapped my watch to buy coffee this morning.
And that's not just because it's convenient for us. The source points out the profit motive for banks. Electronic transactions are incredibly profitable. The data in the source notes that profit from credit cards rose from $9 billion to $27 billion in less than a decade. They want cash to die.
So here is the warning the author is screaming from the rooftops. As cash disappears, we are removing the one psychological trigger that keeps us honest.
Correct. We are entering an era where almost every transaction will be one step removed. And if the research holds true, that means we are entering an era where cheating becomes easier, guilt becomes scarcer, and good people might start doing some very dishonest things.
That is heavy. It makes you look at your digital wallet a little differently.
It should.
Okay, I think we need a drink after that.
I think we do.
Let's transition to something slightly lighter, but actually just as revealing about the human condition. We're going to a bar. Specifically, the Carolina Brewery in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
A classic college town spot. Brick buildings, high ceilings, exposed beams, the kind of place with big stainless steel vats right there in the room.
I can smell the hops just thinking about it. So, our researchers, Dan Ariely again, and Jonathan Levav, decide to turn this brewery into a laboratory.
And this is what I love about behavioral economics. You don't always need a sterile white room. Sometimes you need a bar and a clipboard.
So here's the setup. The author dresses up as a waiter. He's got the apron, the notepad, the whole deal. And he goes around offering free beer samples to tables.
Which, by the way, the manager agreed to only if the researchers paid for the beer. I love the detail about them trying to expense $1,400 worth of beer to MIT later.
Research expenses. I'm sure the accounting department loved that. Why do you need 400 pints of lager for science?
So he's offering 4 specific beers. And the descriptions are important here because they set the stage for the choice.
Right, let's go through the menu. You've got the Copperline Amber Ale, fruity, medium-bodied. You've got the Franklin Street Lager, crisp Bohemian Pilsner style.
Okay.
You've got the India Pale Ale, robust, hoppy, floral finish, and then the Summer Wheat Ale.
The banana and clove aroma.
It's refreshing.
So you have 4 distinct flavor profiles. Now, here is the experiment. They wanted to test social influence. Does hearing what I order change what you order?
We've all felt this, right? You're at dinner, you know what you want, but then your friend orders it, and you think, well, I can't order the same thing. That's boring.
Or maybe you think, ooh, that sounds good. I'll have that too. Exactly. It's the tension between conformity, copying, and non-conformity being unique.
So they set up 2 conditions. Condition 1, the public order. This is how we normally do it. The waiter comes up, asks person A, then person B, then person C. Everyone hears everyone else.
And condition 2, the private order. They handed out little menus and asked people to write down their choice secretly, so nobody knew what their friends were cooking.
This is the control group. This tells us what people actually want to drink when nobody is watching.
Precisely. And then the crucial second step, After they got their beers, the researchers asked them, how much did you enjoy it? And do you regret your choice?
So, let's predict the future. What happened in the public group when people had to order out loud?
Chaos. Well, controlled chaos. They found a massive increase in variety seeking.
Meaning everyone tried to be different.
Yes. If the first guy ordered the IPA, the second guy was significantly less likely to order the IPA, even if that's what he really wanted. By the time you get to the fourth person, if the amber, lager, and IPA are taken, guess what? You're drinking the summer wheat.
Even if you hate clothes.
Even if you hate clothes. The data showed that people deliberately sacrificed their own taste preferences just to ensure the table had a diverse spread of orders.
This is the need for uniqueness.
That's the psychological term for it. We have this drive, especially in Western cultures, to be seen as individuals. We don't want to be a ditto. We want to be the guy with his own mind.
It's about identity. If I order the same thing as you, I'm a follower. If I order something different, I'm a trailblazer. Oh, look at me getting the wheat ale.
Exactly. We're trading personal utility, which is how good the beer tastes, for reputational utility, which is how cool and unique we look. And the sad part is, we probably don't even realize we're doing it. It feels like a free choice in the moment, but we are being steered by the social context.
But here's the tragedy of the experiment. Did they enjoy the beer?
No, they enjoyed it less. The satisfaction scores in the public group were significantly lower than in the private group.
So we're literally making ourselves miserable just to look cool to our friends.
We're acting against our own self-interest. It's a perfect example of irrationality.
Okay.
We think we are maximizing happiness, but we are actually maximizing uniqueness, which tastes a lot worse than a good lager.
There was one exception, though. One person in the public group was happy.
The first person to order.
Of course.
Because the first person is effectively in the private condition. Nobody has stake to claim yet. They can choose purely based on what they want. Everyone else is reacting to them.
That is such a power move. I'll take the IPA, and then watching your three friends mentally crumple up their plans, well, I guess I'll get the amber.
It creates a cascade of suboptimal choices.
Now, you mentioned Western culture. They repeated this in Hong Kong, right?
They did. And this is fascinating cultural anthropology. In Hong Kong, the cultural value is often placed more on harmony and belonging rather than aggressive individualism.
So did they copy each other?
They did. In the Hong Kong iteration, public ordering led to more conformity. People were more likely to order the same thing as the previous person.
But, and this is the key question, did they enjoy the beer?
No. They still enjoyed it less than the private group.
Wait, really? Why?
Because the mechanism is the same, even if the direction is different. Whether you are copying someone to fit in or dodging someone to stand out, you are still ignoring your own preference. You are letting the social signal dictate your consumption.
Right. If you hate IPA, but you order it because your boss ordered it, you still have to drink an IPA.
You're still stuck with a beer you don't like. That's the bottom line.
That is profound. We are damned if we do, damned if we don't. The only winning move is to write it down on a piece of paper.
Or be the first to speak.
I have to share this anecdote from the source because it's just too funny. So the author, Dan Ariely, is doing this waiter routine, and he walks up to a table, and he knows the guy.
Yes, Rich, a former colleague.
A grad student he'd worked with. And the author is in an apron handing out beer samples. He can't break character because it would ruin the experiment. So he just goes into the spiel, "Hello, I have the Copperline Amber."
And poor Rich. He's looking at this guy who has a PhD, who he knows is a brilliant researcher, and he sees him serving drinks.
He thinks his career has collapsed. The source says Rich wouldn't even make eye contact. He just politely asked, "Dan, did you ever finish your PhD?"
The pity. The absolute pity in that question.
And Dan has to say, "Yes, finished a year ago. I'll be right back with your beers."
And Rich probably turned to his wife and said, "Honey, remind me to never go into social sciences. It ends badly. One day you're at MIT, the next you're slinging loggers."
That guy used to be smart.
Yeah.
But it shows the dedication these researchers have. They're willing to suffer utter social humiliation to prove a point about social humiliation.
It does. And it bridges us perfectly to the so what of this episode. We've talked about hackers. We've talked about beer. What is the connecting thread?
The connecting thread is that we are buggy.
We are buggy.
Standard economics, the stuff you learn in Econ 101, assumes we are rational. It assumes no free lunches.
Right. The standard view says, you know what you want. You calculate the value. You make the best choice. If there was a way to get more happiness, you'd already be doing it. Therefore, there is no free lunch, no easy improvement waiting to be picked up.
But behavioral economics says, Have you met a human?
Exactly. We are predictably irrational. We make mistakes. We order beers. We don't like to impress people. We cheat on our ethics when the money turns into minutes. We are wired to fail in these specific ways.
But you mentioned earlier this is actually good news.
It's good news because if our mistakes are systematic, they are fixable. That is the free lunch.
Explain that.
If we were just randomly crazy, we couldn't help ourselves. But because we are predictably irrational, we can build tools or strategies to overcome it.
So taking the beer example, what is the free lunch strategy?
The free lunch is simple. Don't let the waiter bully you into a bad time. The source offers a concrete strategy. When you go to a restaurant, decide what you want before the waiter arrives.
Lock it in.
Lock it in and stick to it, even if your friend orders the same thing. Even if you feel that pull to be unique, ignore it.
Or use the stake your claim method.
Right. Announce it to the table early. I'm definitely getting the Amber Ale. Boom. You've anchored the table. You've taken the first mover advantage without the waiter even being there.
And for the restaurant owners listening, maybe get rid of the oral exam.
Honestly, yes. The source suggests that if restaurants use little paper slips or digital pads where everyone orders silently, customer satisfaction would go up. People would get what they actually want. It's a tiny change that creates a free lunch.
Yeah.
More happiness for zero extra cost.
I love that. It's such a small hack, but it bypasses that social brain wiring that tricks us up.
And that's the beauty of this field. We aren't Shakespeare's noble in reason, infinite in faculty humans. We are messy. But recognizing the mess is the first step to cleaning it up.
So let's wrap this up and look at the big picture. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We started with the idea that honesty is fragile. It depends heavily on the tangibility of the currency. Remove the cash, turn it into data or miles or minutes, and good people start to slide down the slippery slope.
And then we looked at how our personal enjoyment is fragile. It depends on social pressure. We will sabotage our own dinner just to maintain an image of uniqueness or conformity.
In both cases, the invisible forces are driving the bus.
So what does this mean for us today? Because looking at my phone, cash is basically dead. I tap to pay for everything. I buy things with points. I have apps that auto-subscribe me to things I don't remember buying.
We are living in the world the author warned us about. The friction is gone. The psychological pain of paying is almost zero. And the result is that we need to be more vigilant than ever.
Right.
Not just about companies stealing from us with hidden fees, but about us stealing from, well, from our own ethical standards.
We need to manually install those alarm bells that used to be automatic.
We do. We have to ask ourselves, if this were a stack of $10 bills, would I be doing this? If this company were asking for $50 cash, would I be agreeing to this?
And next time you're at a bar,
Ask yourself, am I ordering this for my taste buds? Or am I ordering this for my ego?
that is the question. I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. We talked about cash going away, but we are moving into worlds that are entirely synthetic. The metaverse, crypto, NFTs, places where nothing is physical.
Pure abstraction, ones and zeros.
If the research is right and physical cues are what keep us honest, are we building a digital future that is designed to bring out the absolute worst in us? Are we building a world where the good thief is the only kind of citizen left?
That is a disturbing thought.
It is. But hey, at least we can order a good beer while we think about it. Just make sure you order it first.
Deal.
Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.